I was seeing another statement from Nathi Nhleko, referring to Fikile Mbalula's "We lied for Zuma" over the Nkandla fire pool. And Nathi Nhleko saying that Fikile Mbalula's statements on this are damaging to the ANC's reputation. And the lack of self-awareness is quite staggering, if indeed there is a lack of self-awareness. Quite staggering. No reflection on Nathi Nhleko's part that sweaty, fiction-based defense of the swimming pool being a fire pool did significantly more damage to the ANC's reputation than Fikile Mbalula's rather strange and excitable admission of the lie. And you just look around at the news at the moment. Let me give you a couple of examples. We have at the moment 150,000 beneficiaries of social grants who haven't been paid because of what the Department of Social Development says are verification problems. And I do understand that there is an issue with people claiming social grants to which they are not entitled, but that the Department of Social Development and SASSA, working in tandem, have not been able to come up with quicker and more efficient ways of dealing with this issue, so that now again, for the first time, but not the last time this year, if last year is anything to go by, people who absolutely depend on these grants for the most basic form of existence have to wait. And they have to wait in an environment where there is a lot of help for them. They don't generally have families that can help. They are reliant on that social grant. And it is late. It is the 10th of January and they have not yet been paid. I would suggest, ex-Minister Nhleko, that does quite a lot of damage to the ANC's reputation. Considerably more so than Fikile Mbalula admitting and then having to retract a truth. Here's another one. The Minister of Health has answered a parliamentary question posed by the DA. And the DA asked, what is the state of the toxicology backlog at the forensic chemistry laboratories in Cape Town, Johannesburg, and Pretoria? And the answer was given yesterday, and the answer is that up until the end of October, so the information is already nearly 2.5 months out of date. The backlog is at 37,962 tests outstanding. And how many tests were done in October of last year across all 3 forensic chemistry laboratories? A total of 365. 365 were done. There is a backlog of 37,962. Even if no tests on new material are come in and only the backlog is dealt with, it's going to take close to 2 years at this pace to clear the backlog. The minister blamed the backlog on inadequate infrastructure, broken equipment, load shedding, inadequate water supply, the COVID-19 pandemic, and human resources shortages. Why don't you blame solar flares? Why don't you blame the absence of unicorns on planet Earth? Why don't you blame Noah's Ark? Okay, so there is another one. Let me, before I get on to yet another one, which does damage to the ANC's reputation, more than Fikile Mbalula's "we lied for Zuma" comment. Edward's called us from Kraaifontein on the social grant issue. Hello, Edward.
Hi, John. I I am receiving about every month now for the last 3 months SMS notifications of social SASSA grants. And I don't receive that money, so I suppose somebody's using my cell phone number as a notification, whatever the case may be. And then also on that SMS, there's a number that you can call, either for for information purposes, or if there's something wrong with your SASSA grant. And I've been calling that number numerous times, and the phone is just ringing. And then there's an option on the computer voice saying that, well, if you press 1, we'll call you back. And I've tried that option, and not soon after the phone has been dropped, that particular number is calling me back. But then at the same time, nobody's talking on the other side. So I'm just thinking that I was just trying to add my 5 cents into the big bucket.
You know, problems happen, Edward. Even in the best-run systems in the world, problems happen. But then there is a backup. There is a system where you identify a problem, where Edward from Kraaifontein has a problem, and he phones a number, and there is somebody sympathetically and efficiently listening to Edward from Kraaifontein's problem and suggesting a way of resolving it. But what we have here is Edward from Kraaifontein and tens, hundreds of thousands of other people with similar problems are just ignored. Their existence is denied because the phone refuses to accept them. I'm sorry. I really am sorry that this is the case. Another answer to another parliamentary question. This was asked of about the length of Transnet freight rail tracks lost. And the answer from Pravin Gordon's department was that a total of 3,636 kilometers of railway track have fallen into disuse since the ANC has been in power. That is 10 Ks of freight rail a month, every month for the last 30 years. And that's just freight rail. That doesn't take into account the damage done to passenger rail. That's pretty embarrassing to the ANC's reputation, I would think.